Can you hear my pulse breathe? Listen.
She was the bombshell who broke the system, the star who shone with her own light. And in the end, her light went out far too soon. On the surface, Raquel Welch was another model who left us all love-struck. But in actuality, she was a revolutionary who totally changed the game for women in the industry and redefined what beauty meant. So just how different was Welch in the privacy of her home versus the sensational, steamy scenes in front of the camera? Why did she call her rise to fame a misunderstanding? I am your host, Nostalgic Nick, with all these answers and more, including why she so openly embraced wigs and how she spent her final days. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for all things 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. But without further ado, let's strut our stuff. Okay, I'll leave that to Raquel. What ethnicity is Raquel Welch? Having industry connections is a surefire way to jumpstart a career, but Welch had none of those. In fact, no one in her family was anywhere near the modeling industry. Our star was born Jo Raquel Tejada to a Bolivian aeronautical engineer. That was her father, and her mom was the daughter of a famous Chicago architect. Oh, and on her dad's side is the first female president of Bolivia. Raquel was born in Chicago, but the family quickly moved to California, which helped foster her dreams to stardom. Those dreams, of course, in between her diligent church visits with her mom each Sunday. At first, she set out to become a ballerina and studied for 10 years. She was dedicated to that training, only to be told by her instructor she didn't have the right body for ballet. By that point, she'd already won multiple teen beauty pageants. So file that under the top 10 mistakes of all time. Pragmatism and big dreams warred with each other. She married her high school sweetheart, James Welch, and they had 2 kids together. But that also meant when she split with John, she had to really plan out how she was gonna make decent money. In walked Patrick Curtis, a Hollywood agent who was also Baby Bo Wilkes in Gone with the Wind. In the early 60s, Welch and Curtis ended up business partners, and it was his idea to build Welch up as a sex symbol. Thing is, Curtis worried her opportunities would be limited with a name like Tejada, so he convinced Welch to use her ex's last name. And so began the new face of sensuality in America. What was Raquel Welch known for? Jane Mansfield, Diana Dors, Marilyn Monroe. These were the blonde bombshells that set the standard for the beauty industry. Then came strutting along Raquel Welch, who took those barriers and trampled them under a high-heeled foot. The year was 1966, just years after Marilyn died, and 1 million years BC helped Welch's image explode into the mainstream psyche. Welch stood proudly with her athletic physique and attentive stare in that infamous doe-skin bikini, and quite honestly, she had everyone under her spell. It was the easy popularity of her image that helped Welch become such a common sight in the industry, a new standard that kinda changed everything. In fact, she turned all the old notions on their heads. Instead of the ditzy blonde, she was fierce and very sure in herself. This best-selling poster was hailed by the New York Times as, quote, a marvelous breathing monument to womankind. And we have an entire video dedicated to the best-selling bombshell posters of all time. So be sure to check to see if the one you had on your wall made our list. Welch very famously and infamously stuck to her own way of doing things. That monument to womankind would not, under her rules, include any nude photo shoots. And when she was offered $1 million to appear naked on screen, she turned it down. She can be seen in a 1979 issue of Playboy, but she also laid down the law for Hugh Hefner, insisting she stay partly dressed. Her terms were met, and Hefner famously called her, quote, one of the last of the classic sex symbols from the era when you could be considered the sexiest woman in the world without taking your clothes off. Why does Raquel Welch wig? Getting into this modeling and acting business is a whole series of contradictions. Everyone wants to come off as naturally breathtaking, but you gotta pull off a few clever tricks along the way. So, of course, models want to say that full head of beautiful hair is really theirs. Well, not Welch. Not only did she use wigs, but she was very open about it. In fact, you wouldn't find a bigger advocate for embracing wigs. While some saw it as something to hide, Welch saw it as liberation and creativity. The way she explains it was, quote, "With the aid of a wig, I have more versatility in my life, and so can you." It got to such a point, Welch is the face behind Raquel Welch Wigs, with the goal of getting people to want to wear wigs and feel their most beautiful. What is Raquel Welch's IQ? Okay, bear with me on this. Did you know, speaking in very broad terms, an IQ score of 100 is considered normal? Our superstar Raquel Welch had an IQ score of 140. That's right at the threshold that denotes a high score. Well, Welch knew she was the full package, both beauty and brain, and she didn't want people to ignore her smarts. In 2012, she reflected on this misconception people can have, saying, quote, "There was this perception of, oh, she's just a sex pot. She's just a body. She probably can't walk and chew gum at the same time." And it's unfortunate for Welch. The industry really just wanted her for her looks. And she earned a black mark on her record for insisting they do photo shoots her way, which is to say, clothed. At the same time, this made Welch emblematic of the new era of ladies in film, the strong woman archetype, a defiant answer to the damsel in distress. She symbolized this revolutionary trope on screen with her fresh looks, but in real life, she was determined to be unapologetically her. In fact, for all her fame and time in front of the camera, people rarely saw her. It was a point of contention for Welch, and one that motivated her to write her memoir, Raquel Beyond the Cleavage. Which, oh my gosh, what a title, Raquel. You certainly sent that message. Explaining this very personal project, Raquel shared, quote, "I wasn't part of the star system so people didn't know me. They never used me in any film, so I wanted to share my persona." Was Raquel Welch still married? Over the years, Welch had been married and divorced 4 times. Besides the source of her last name, she's been with Patrick Curtis, who got Raquel her big start, and another producer and restaurateur. Her last divorce was in 2004. Along the way, she also dated Freddie Prinze Sr., you know, Chico from Chico and the Man, and the dad to another very successful actor by the same name. Raquel's married life was not some series of saucy, fiery affairs, though. Welch has said she's nothing like the woman in her photo shoots would make her out to be. She was reserved and conservative, saying, quote, "I reserve some things for my private life, and they are not for sale." And she was pretty adamant. Everyone knew, quote, "What I do on the screen is not to be equated with what I do in my private life. Privately, I am understated and dislike any hoopla." But everyone who saw her wanted some glimpse into that private life. And Welch said that took a toll on her love life. She said, quote, "I never did get it right. And a lot of men don't like the fact that when we go somewhere, I am the one who gets focused on." But she's also admitted to having real and meaningful feelings for all of them. And even if they did end in divorce, she did not regret any of them. From her relationships came a son named Damon and a daughter named Tawny. Was Raquel Welch ill? 30 films and 50 shows later, Raquel Welch kept herself in the limelight as an entrepreneur and didn't shy away from media questions that came her way. She's behind a line of beauty products and fitness videos. In the 2000s, she talked more about her Bolivian background, and she advocated for more roles for Latino actors outside of stereotypes. But as the years went on, Welch retreated from the cameras, with her last big on-camera credit coming in 2017. She was seen in July of 2022 visiting a Beverly Hills salon called J&J Beauty Lounge. She enjoyed a manicure but looked pained at times. Then she took a stroll outside and hung out with a friend, holding hands for a bit. This would be her last big public appearance. on February 18, 2023, at the age of 82. Raquel Welch passed away. Her death was confirmed by her son Damon, who assured her many fans that the great Raquel Welch died without pain, attributed to a brief illness. He also expressed unwavering pride in his mother, who missed 3 Christmases with her kids to perform in USO tours with the legendary Bob Hope. Looking back on her own career, Welch has said she was not brought up to be a bombshell beauty, that it actually wasn't really in her nature at all. The way Welch sees it, her career was, quote, probably the loveliest, most glamorous, and fortunate misunderstanding. The face and trajectory of the beauty industry was forever changed thanks to Raquel Welch, who embodied a new type of hero in front of the camera and in her everyday life. Her career was an unexpected surprise to everyone, including Welch herself, who were faced with intensity, curves, and defiance. So now we open up the room to you. Did you have one of those famous 1 million years BC posters? Who was your favorite iconic model of those decades? And what role of Raquel Welch's was your favorite? Get in the comments and tell me all things Raquel Welch. Before you head out of here, please give this video a thumbs up if you don't mind, it really helps. And subscribe to our channel for more throwback content like this. Drop a note in the comments for who we should cover next. And from all of us here at Do You Remember, we want to thank you for watching.